The old coot here coming back at you with another exciting video. So today I'm going to talk about the sauerkraut fermented vegetable mix that I make that just to me is packed with antioxidants, polyphenols, fiber, everything to get your gut bacteria, the good gut bacteria, well fed, healthy, and in good solid numbers. That basically aids in digestion, makes sleeping a lot easier. It helps your body to absorb better nutrients better. List goes on and on to the benefits of fermented vegetable sauerkraut. So, anyways, with that being said, the best ones, the research is still out there, right? Like I'm still trying to find the best like combination of things. But from what I noticed, like I use two kinds of cabbage. So I have red cabbage, which has an exorbitant amount of vitamin C more than just regular cabbage would, right? I use everything. Every single piece of the cabbage that I can use, I use everything. So I use two types, right? Two different types of lactobacillus in there, right? And then your strain from there or whatever, like lactobacillus fill in the blank. Two types, right? Getting two different types of strains. Garlic, bruised it, right? Crushed it a little bit just so that the salt water can eventually penetrate in there and do its thing. Onion, red onion, white onion, yellow onion, Maui onion, mix and match. If you only have one, that's fine too. If you only have one of the cabbage, that's fine too. Then what I do is for natural sugars, I use apple. Core, the peel, everything. The stem is the only thing I take out. But pretty much slice it, dice it up, and just do that. It's important that after you slice it, you kind of get the process going. Otherwise, this can get kind of brown, which you really don't want. But with that being said, apple provides some natural sugars in there to kind of kickstart or just like take the fermentation process up one notch. You'll get a little more burpy, right? Sauerkraut mix or fermented vegetable mix. So make sure to like release the gas every once in a while, pun intended. So on this side, I've got carrot, right? So carrot natural sugars, apple natural sugars, onion natural sugars, right? Three different types of natural sugars. Guess what? Three different type of lactobacillus that are in each one. So again, I'm not just using regular old cabbage. I'm mixing and matching to get multiple strains of that lactobacillus. Probiotics, antioxidants, the list goes on and on. Good fiber. If your gut bacteria is happy, you're happy almost literally, and literally in some cases. Helps with digestion. It helps your body to absorb more of the minerals from the things that you eat, even after eating the sauerkraut cabbage. Kind of get a sense of what's going on there. Ginger, right? Polyphenol, antioxidant, just packed. That's why I also do for the flavor as well. I got the regular cabbage, as I mentioned. Here, there's a mix and a cavalcade of things. There's dill, there's fennel, there's the fennel tops, right? The little grassy kind of leaves that come out, those thin little leaves, kind of like dill. Then I've got some celery leaves, and celery stalk, and those have been just basically chopped up like little bits and pieces. The carrot I shredded to get some of that juice out as well, because that juice kind of helps with the process of starting the fermentation process, etc. And you kind of get a sense of what's going on there. And the ginger also, look at that beautiful fresh ginger. The ginger I grated as well. It smells amazing in here. Carrot, ginger, apple. Oh my God, just that alone. I could juice that and drink that and I would be happy. Throw it in a blender and I would drink it or chew on it. But you gotta get a sense of what I'm getting there. So with that being said, these are the vegetables, the miscellaneous produce that I've thrown into or that I'm going to be throwing into my fermented vegetable mix. Call it sauerkraut, whatever you want to call it. The key to the whole process is pickling salt, canning and pickling salt. The reason why this is special is because it does not have iodine. Iodine can maybe inhibit the production of all those good antioxidants and polyphenols and those lactobacillus, fill in the blank. So that's why it's important to use canning. You could use Himalayan pink salt, which usually has little to no iodine or very low iodine. But the importance of that is that you get vitamins and minerals in there. So mix and match. Maybe a little bit of Himalayan pink, maybe a little bit of the canning pickling salt. The other thing is check your labels. This is salt, and nothing but the salt. A lot of times when you look at salt, you'll see like there's an anti-caking agent or something. You want to try to avoid that. Like regular table salt, if you have to use it, so be it. But try to avoid that because those caking agents that are in there to keep it from clumping could be hindering the production of all those antioxidants, polyphenols, lactobacillus. You kind of get a sense of what I'm getting at. The ratio is 1 cup, so one actual measuring cup, 1 cup of filtered water. Try to use filtered water if you can, to 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of salt. So 1 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of salt. For something like this mason jar, right? This is a 64 ounce or the big one, the wide mouth. I'm probably going to use about 2 cups of the liquid salt mixture. I mix that up before I do anything else. Just keep it in a jar, mix it up, make sure it all mixes thoroughly. You might have some residual salt at the bottom. That's fine. It just means there's more salt than there is water, but that's okay. Then when it comes to the vegetables and everything else, the key to all this is try to use as fresh as you can. You know, the fresher it is, the more those existing things are in there that are going to help with the fermentation process. You know, the more wilted your vegetables get, you know, the less of the good stuff you're going to be getting. You'll still get it, you're just not getting as much. But also it's important to have very clean utensils, clean cutting board, clean grater if you're going to use that, clean cutting knife, etc., just so that you avoid anything bad like a fungus or a weird bacteria that you don't want in there that could potentially spore, mold. Like, you don't want that. You just want the good stuff. That's it. So anyways, with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix everything up and then maybe sprinkle in, like, I would say maybe like a quarter of a teaspoon maybe of more of that pickling salt, and then just basically bash this, right? Just go basically hit it with this thing. Any kind of, like, if you have a pounder like that you pound, you know, other things with, like meat, whatever, chicken, poultry, whatever, make sure it's clean. Make sure you wash this sucker, clean it, make sure everything's clean. And you're just going to basically just pound, and you're trying to bruise. You're trying to bruise the miscellaneous produce here so that it can absorb more of that salt water goodness, which helps to penetrate deeper into the miscellaneous produce and helps it to ferment easier. Eventually, when it's all said and done, after I've mixed everything together, then I will go ahead and put everything into the mason jar or mason jars. I think I've got enough here probably for 2 mason jars full. 64 ounce mason jars. I'll put links down below in the description. The last step in the process is as you fill in the miscellaneous produce that's been bruised, you're going to slowly fill in a little bit of the water as you go. So a little bit of produce, a little bit of water, a little bit of produce, a little bit of water, and pressing as you go. So press down as you go to get everything packed in there as tight as possible. What's going to happen is you're going to reach a level, probably like you don't want to go all the way up to the top because it is going to expand. The miscellaneous produce is going to swell up with that saltwater mix. So you want to leave yourself maybe like to the first line here, like give or take the first line. You want to leave about, I would say, like 1.5 inches from the top. And then the beauty of this whole thing is, weights, glass weights. I got this pre-pandemic or around the time of the pandemic. There are other ones that I will put links to down there below in the description section, also in the comment section. But you basically want to put in your weight on top of the mix so that the very, very tippy top of the miscellaneous produce mix is submerged underneath like maybe 1/4 inch of that salt water. So if you have to add more salt water to it, that's fine. And then what I usually do is, if the top of the produce is, let's say here on the first line, I usually go to about right here with the salt water after the weight is in. Does that make sense? So the weight will be in there, and then the salt water will come up maybe 1/4 inch above this. And then put your lid on. You don't really have to put a lid on. Like, I noticed a lot of people are using these burping lids and this and that, whatever. You really don't have to put a lid on, but if you do put the lid on, just loose, very, very loose. Just leave it on there very, very loose. And then I would say once a day, take the weight out, take this out, press it down with your mortar. I think that's the mortar, right? Pestle, whichever one is whichever one. Press it down, burp it, so get the gases that have accumulated out. I would say do that once, maybe twice a day for about 3 to 5 days. And then after 3 to 5 days, leave the weight in, but take the whole thing and just stick it in the fridge. And then it'll last for, I've had some that have lasted a month. I've had some that I ate within 3 days. So they basically last, I would say maybe, like in terms of spoilage or whatever, I would say safe a month to 2 months, maybe 3 months, because everything is so fresh and it's a living, breathing organism, believe it or not. I would say within 1 to 3 months, I would try to consume all of it. You know, if you're going to go longer, it's going to get more concentrated, more potent, more sour, more tangy, more pungent, etc. If there's something in here that you don't like you only want to use regular red cabbage, fine. If you want to mix carrot cabbage, fine. Onion cabbage, whatever. If you don't like the garlic to me gives a nice flavor. It also gives it some pungency, right? And especially if you only do it for 3 days. So if you do it for 3 days, you're going to get a nice bite, a nice tart, pungent kick. That heat, that spicy kick, like in your mouth feel, that kind of just gives you that flavor. But anyways, some people do caraway seed. You can do that too. Some people will put hot chilies in here, peppers, whatever floats your boat. But anyways, that is basically the essence of how I make my fermented vegetable mix, my miscellaneous produce. And to me, like I said, the research is still out there. I still have to find what combination is truly the best for the maximum amount of polyphenols, the maximum amount of antioxidants, the maximum amount of fiber, etc. But for me, this is working. This is what I'm going to do. So anyway, stay tuned. In a couple days or so, I'll update the video to show you all the progress that we made. But with that being said, I'm the Old Coot, and I'll catch you all in the next exciting video.